Hey everyone, Charles here. And first of all, thank you for stopping by my podcast. If this show inspires you, makes you think, or gives you that courage to jump into action, please help by donating to this show. Click the link in the description and donate. Your donation helps us with production and finding great guests moving forward. Thank you and enjoy.
Amazon is offering sign-on bonuses up to $1,000, plus get up to $20 an hour for select roles. The best part? We're hiring near you. So start now to take home something greater. New, higher wages with a sign-on bonus, a range of real benefits, and career growth opportunities in a top-rated workplace. So earn more and see how great pay and sign-on bonuses can lead to a greater life for you. Go to amazon.com/apply. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
You know you should be doing something different, right? Hey, I'm talking to you. Do you believe that you have the gift for greatness or have a special talent, but don't have the courage to take that next step? Always wondering how others made it look so easy? Well, welcome to Jump, the show that will bring you special guests just like you and me. How did they get the courage to jump into greatness? Doing what they love and living the good life. So, get ready to jump with your host, Charles Matthews Jr.
Jump fans, how you guys doing? And you know, it's been a couple of days and my show has been off and it's been going great. Thank you so much to all my fans that have been calling in and listening in. And I'm glad that you guys are getting the utmost out of the show, because the whole reason I did the show is to help people out there. So when I saw this lovely lady, I thought, you know something, I got to get her on the show. We're going to go a little different direction, because I feel that in business, it's not just one thing. Business is mind, body, and soul. So I wanted to get this lovely lady on the show. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sandra, Elia to the show. Sandra, how you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me on.
No, I'm excited to have you on because I noticed I was checking out your bio, I was checking out your website, and anybody that's been on Vibe 105 has got to come on my show. Okay?
No, they're a great group of people.
I actually got started on 105. That's how I started my radio career.
Wow.
I know if I can get you on there, then you know you're good. You're good people. You got to get on my show.
That's awesome.
But not only that, you've been on some big shows: Global News, Toronto Star, Rogers, What She Said, Reader's Digest, Women's Fitness. You know, how did you get started? Tell us a little bit more about you.
Yeah, I mean, where do I start? I sum it up by saying that I took what I thought was one of the greatest curses of my life, being in my 20s, being classified as morbidly obese, suffering from horrific depression. At that time, I was in a bad marriage. I was off work. I was taking care of my mom, who suffered from bipolar disorder, and she herself was morbidly obese. Like, it was just such a dark time in my life where everything was spiraling out of control. And I was able to flip that. I was able to take the steps that were necessary to transform my life. And I made it one of the greatest blessings of my life, because I truly believe it's either suffering or you find meaning. And I don't want to be a victim, and I want to find meaning in everything in my life, including times that were dark and painful. And out of that, you know, I was able to put together some programs that help people who suffer with food addiction. And I'm able to make it my life's work, my life's passion. So today I can look back at that time and say it was the greatest blessing of my life.
Okay, now I'm going through your website. Now, when you say you're obese, I'm looking at the pictures. If people want to follow you, go to Sandra. And I'm looking at your pictures, and I can't believe it's a transition, right? It's a whole transition. Tell everybody, how much did you weigh?
So I weighed over 260 pounds, and I'm only 5'2". So I'm a petite person.
Okay.
Carried a lot of weight. I don't know how much weight I lost. I know it's over 100 pounds, but today I say that my weight is absolutely none of my business. My business is to eat whole foods, move my body in ways that I love moving my body. And wherever my weight ends up, it ends up. Because, the truth is we cannot control the number on the scale. We can only control our behaviors. And for a long time in my life, the number on the scale was the prize. I was just trying so hard and focusing so much on that number. And whatever you focus on expands. So that was true of my weight. And the day that I kind of, released myself from that bondage, and I said, honestly, whether I lose another pound or not, I do not care. I just can't keep living like this anymore. I can't keep eating like this. It's making me suicidal. It's making me depressed. I'm just going to try to go out there and find peace with food and find peace with my body exactly as it was. And paradoxically, that's when I lost all the weight, is when I stopped focusing on it.
Now, the people always say, well, health. They always talk about health on TV and everything. When did you start gaining the weight?
Well, I'd probably say in my teen years, I really started packing on the weight. And I could pretty much tell you how much I weighed any day of the year. What I weighed in high school graduation, what I weighed on my wedding day, what I weighed. And it was always going up and up and up. But what happened to me, I got a job that I was super excited about. I was about 24 years old, and it was on Bay Street, and I was really jazzed about it. So I went to a Bay Street dietitian. I paid a lot of money, and she helped me lose 50 pounds in 6 months. So that's pretty dramatic. What I didn't understand was when you go on a super restrictive diet, you actually create a famine, and your brain has no idea that this famine is artificial. It was self-imposed. So what happens after famine? There's always the feast. So your brain, when it perceives famine, because that was a real threat in human history, it in the background drives up the signals to find food, eat food, and not just any food, but calorie-dense, sugary foods, because it thinks it's a matter of life or death, right? My brain's like, holy smoke, Sandra's been in a famine for 6 months. We really have to drive up these signals. And so I did what most dieters do. In fact, 98% of all dieters. I gained back the 50, and then I gained another 50. And so for me, because I was at the same firm for 15 years, it was so humiliating to show up at work month after month, gaining 10, 12, 8 pounds, and just having my colleagues watch me transform into this other person. And the weight was just a symptom. I mean, they could see how sad I was, how desperate I was. And it's very isolating. In a world where we value beauty so much, I felt like the more I weighed, the less I was worth.
Well, see, that's the thing. When I looked at your profile, I wanted to bring you on the show because I tell everybody to jump into action, follow your dreams, follow your goals. But then I thought to myself, maybe it's not sometimes you're scared mentally, it's mentally and physically. Mm-hmm. Something's holding you back. So I wanted to bring you on the show to realize for you to tell my Jump listeners, how did you come out of it? Because looking at your pictures, we've never met. We've only talked on the show, but you look great. You're smiling. You look different. When did you know it was time to switch over?
Yeah, so I had a moment. I was on a flight from Toronto to Arizona, and I get onto the flight and the seatbelt doesn't fit. And I thought, there is absolutely no way I'm asking for a seatbelt extender. I'm just not. It's humiliating. There's no way. So I hid the seatbelt underneath my stomach flap. And as the flight attendant came by, they do the check, and it appeared that it was buckled. And I thought, phew, I dodged a bullet. No one needs to know. And then on this flight, we hit some awful turbulence. I mean, the kind of turbulence that causes terror. And, the flight attendants are scrambling to get back to their seats. And I can see one has become like airborne for a moment. Like, that's how bad it was. And I thought to myself, I'm just hanging on to the sides of my seat. And I'm thinking, wow, like, this is it. Like, I didn't have the courage. I don't care for myself enough to ask for a seatbelt extender. And now my life is at risk. And I left that plane and I said, that's it. This is done. It's over. I have to do something, and I have to do something I've never done before. And for me, that was unconditional love. And I know we all hear it, right? We all have to love ourselves. It sounds so trite. But the truth is, and this is where I help people understand the importance, love is energizing. Love will always give you the energy to do the work that you need to do. And hate, self-judgment, self-condemnation will drain you of every ounce you have. And that was the trap and the loop that I was stuck in. I hated myself. I despised myself, which meant I wasn't going to care for this body if I hate it. And so when I flipped over to love and unconditional love, unconditional acceptance, all 260 pounds of me with the sagging skin and the lumps and the bumps and the stretch marks, and I just stood in the light of day, and I was able to see what was right, what was perfect, what was lovable. Then my outlook changed. Then I had the energy. Then the inspiration came. Then I was in the flow. I could see what was possible because I had left behind this other reality, I would say, where it was just pure hate for myself, and I moved into a place of love.
Well, then now that you're saying that, I got to put two and two together, because I'm going through your profile, and congratulations, by the way, because you're one of the finalists in the 2018 Grand Slam.
Yes, right? So excited.
Yeah. Inspirational speaking competition, and it's happening November 28th.
Yes, so please come out and support. It'll be such a fun night. 14 amazing speakers.
All right, so hopefully we can, get that out there, make everybody come out and see it. But then I'm thinking to myself, if you were so scared to get an extender,
yeah,
how did you transition? Like, this is a 180. Now you're on stage speaking. You're a finalist. You can't even ask for an extender, but you want to go in front of people and speak now.
I know. Isn't that so funny? And I have to tell you, when I did the first Speaker Slam, it was the first competition I had ever done in my life. Life. And I won second place, and I won Judge's Choice Award. So it was amazing. And I'm not a competitive person at all. That's just not part of me. But I only lost by half a point that night. And suddenly competition has been ignited in me. If I had lost by, 20 points or, like by a major, but that half a point stung, like I can't even tell you. So how did I get to this place where I can stand on stage and on the 28th, I'm bringing it. Like we only have 5 minutes, about 5.5 minutes on the stage, and I'm bringing everything. I'm going to do a little singing. I'm going to do a little dancing. I'm going to do a little talking, and I'm a terrible singer. Like, it's awful, but I am going to bring everything I got. I'm leaving nothing behind when I hit that stage. And part of that journey for me was realizing that I am just one part of the human race. I am no better and I am no worse than anybody out there, and that we are more alike than we are different. And when I was able to make peace with all the parts of me that caused me distress, because it's easy to make peace with the parts of yourself that you like, right? We all have parts of ourselves, whether it's our personality, our sense of humor, our intelligence, our eyes, whatever it is, we can make peace with those parts, but that's not the real work. The real work is making peace with the parts of yourselves that maybe you're not proud of, maybe behaviors you're not proud of, or parts of your body that cause you distress or you're not comfortable with. Those are the parts that I needed to make peace with and love. And I learned through that journey that the more at peace I am with myself, the more at peace I can be with you.
So then how do you realize that you are different? So what I mean by that is, when did you say to yourself, okay, the Sandra I was before is not the same person I am now? When you look in the mirror now, do you still see yourself as the old person, or do you see yourself as the new person?
I don't even recognize, no, not even a scrap. I always tell people, if I wouldn't even be friends with my 20-year-old self. Like, I'm so different. Oh my God. My 20-year-old self was just, in a lot of ways, I was just this empty shell, and I could be an emotional vampire, and I was always looking for reassurance and making sure that people loved me. And, 5 people could love me, but what if one person looked at me funny? I would focus on them and figure out what went wrong. And I was always judging other people, and I was so filled with hate for myself that it spilled over to other people. I'm nowhere near that person that I was there, and it really has nothing to do with the external, even though externally I look so different. And in fact, people tell me, and it's so weird, that I look younger now, 25 years later, than I did when I was 30, not 25 years. That would make me too old. 15 years ago. I'm like, I'm not that old. 15 years ago, because 15 years ago, and I'm still friends with a lot of people, they told me my eyes were filled with sadness. And I was just not only physically heavy, but emotionally heavy. And I walked different, and everything about me was different. So, I really believe strength and beauty soars from the inside out. And shortly after I lost the weight, I was interviewed by a radio station about fat phobia. It was a while ago, at least 10 years ago. And they talked about fat discrimination and fat phobia, and they wanted my perspective, because I had lived in a body that was considered obese, and then I lived in a body in a normal size, or a healthy size, I should say. There is no normal size, but a healthy body weight. And I really said to them, I couldn't comment on fat discrimination because, yes, people treated me different, 100%. So I worked with people who treated me one way when I was 260 pounds and then treated me another way when I lost all the weight. And I really believe they were just reflecting back to me the way I felt for myself. I don't think they're jerks. I don't think they were horrible people. I really don't. That would be too easy to say, wow, I look different now and you're treating me well. No, they were reflecting back exactly how I felt about myself.
So then how did this translate into business? Because the whole, why we tell everybody is to go for it, be the new you. So what did you do different? How do you take the new you and translate it into business wise? Because you're doing different things now.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. So with business and in life in general, do you believe that you live in a kind, loving, supportive universe? Or do you believe that you live in a universe that's lack and dog eat dog and the survival of the fittest, right? And I really believe that perspective shapes how you show up in life. So I truly believe that I live in a universe that loves me, supports me, and gives me everything I need the moment I need it. In the moment I need it, not beforehand. So I was in this corporate job for 15 years and it was soul crushing. But I had what they called the golden handcuffs, right? I couldn't leave, even though my spirit was saying, this is soul crushing, you don't belong here. My brain would take over that intuitive voice and say, are you crazy? You get benefits. Yeah. You have a pension. You're making good money. You get 5 weeks vacation. No one's ever going to give you 5. And it would squash that little voice inside of me that said, you got to go. You got to go. This is killing you. This is not your calling. And then my brain would say, stop it, be quiet, enjoy your office. And then I went on mat leave. And because the universe loves me so much, my employer called me up and said, we know you're not happy. Would you like a package to leave? And I thought, well, yeah. And they said, we know that you wanted to become a professional coach, a life coach. Would you like us to pay for that course? And I was like, yeah.
Hold on. What kind of good employer do you have? I might want to switch my job.
I know. They're one of the top 10 employers in the world. I won't mention them.
My Lord. That's fantastic where they can actually help you out like that to good. So then I'm sorry to cut you, but
and I had worked there for 15 years though as well. So I had given them a big chunk of my life.
Yeah, but that just goes to show you, if you keep good relationships in your work, good things will happen.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Even though I was miserable there, I still showed up every day and did the best that I could and worked really hard. So yeah, you're exactly right. So there I was. I now have, 18 months of salary without having to work, and they were paying for my coaching lessons. So I'm like, wow, thank you. Because I would have never had the courage to leave that job, but it was given to me. The gift was given to me. So I went ahead and I finished up, it took me a year, 2 years, finished up my coaching practice. And a good friend of mine, someone who knows me, a soul sister, said, oh, are you going to help food addicts? And I was like, no way. No, I can't. I have nothing to give food addicts. That's too complicated. And anyways, food addicts want really skinny people. They don't want me. I'm not a size 2. I'm not on the cover of Shape magazine. They're going to look at me and they're going to say, honey, you still got a good, 20 pounds to lose. What are you going to teach me? And all ridiculous and all fear-based. And any decisions that you make based on fear, never good quality. Poor quality decisions are based in fear. High quality decisions are based on belief and faith and following your intuition. So I resisted that, and I went on for a couple of years doing life coaching, never really taking off, but I didn't have to worry about money because I had this other income. So then one day I just put my foot on the path. I put my toe on it. I just said, okay, let me see what happens if I serve this community of food addicts. And oh my God, everything came rushing towards me. Opportunities and partnerships and doors open for me almost effortlessly. It was kind of crazy. Whereas for 2 years, I was kind of pounding the pavement trying to be a life coach. And then when I said, fine, I surrender, I think this is a calling. I'm also a big meditator. And so I always listen to the messages that I get. And I said, fine, if you want me to help food addicts, fine, then you got to bring it. And boy, oh boy, did the universe bring it. And I was able to partner with some top obesity doctors. I created Ontario's very first 8-week outpatient program. I helped co-create Canada's first residential treatment program for food addicts. I run retreats. I've had hundreds and hundreds of people go through my program and they're recovering. And, I work 7 days a week now. And if I worked 7 days a week at my last job, I would have been so miserable. I can't even tell you, but I love what I do, so it doesn't feel like
So the
work.
Retreats, is it for helping to come back out?
So retreats, my retreats are to really jumpstart your recovery. So we go away, we detox off sugar and flour products. And then that's only step one, right? Just get off the drugs, because for some people, they have a relationship with food where they use it like a drug. So the way that an alcoholic uses alcohol, a drug addict uses drugs, some people use food in that way. So we just got to get off our drugs first, but then we got to shine a light across our whole life. It's a whole life healing process. What's going on in your relationships? What's going on with you spiritually? What do you do when emotions bubble up to the surface and you're not going to use food to cope, right? So really helping people bring your relationship back to food to its rightful purpose. Its rightful purpose is to nourish your body, vitalize your body, and not using food to achieve a purpose, like numbing out, stress relief, love.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I want to find out now, you've gone through the changes, you've gone through the process, but I think a lot of my listeners want to know how. How did you lose the weight? What did you do? And we'll step by step. So we're going to get them a little step by step to find out how you did it, healthy, and in the same process. It sounds like while you were doing it, you were happy at the same time. So we'll be right back.
Hey, it's okay if you're driving or too busy to take notes. Charles has your...
Amazon is offering sign-on bonuses up to $1,000, plus get up to $20 an hour for select roles. The best part? We're hiring near you. So start now to take home something greater. New, higher wages with a sign-on bonus, a range of real benefits, and career growth opportunities in a top-rated workplace. So earn more and see how great pay and sign-on bonuses can lead to a greater life for you. Go to amazon.com/apply. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
Your parachute packed with all the info you need to jump into success. Check out the links section for all the tools you need to land safe. Now, let's keep falling with Charles and his special guest.
Yes, we are back, and I have my guest here, Sandra Elia, and she is excited. And I love when I hear my guests excited to talk about their story, because your story is what makes you. And without a story in your life, you can't live and grow without your story. So her story is phenomenal about how she lost the weight and became a transition new person. She's always been that person inside, but now she's this Wonder Woman, and I call her Wonder Woman because I've been looking through her Facebook post, and I think, was it this year you're Wonder Woman or last year? Or
yes, this year. I loved it.
So please tell my listeners, how did you transform? Because earlier in the show you talked about, you went on this real fast regiment, and then after you went on this regiment, you end up gaining more weight.
Yes.
So how did you slowly lose the weight?
So the first thing is, I always say, if you want to gain weight, go on a diet. That is the best way to gain weight. And we have research to back that up. 98% of all dieters will gain the weight back. And only 2% 8% are able to maintain 50 pounds and keep it off for 5 years. So in a way, I'm kind of this weird statistical outlier that I've been able to keep it off for, 13 plus years. And the only reason that I've been able to do that is A, I don't diet. B, I treat my eating like an addiction. So I just put a brick wall between me and sugar and flour products. So flour products are your pastas and your pizzas and your breads, right? I don't touch flour products and sugar products. Fruit is okay. And then I eat everything else. Everything else I eat and I enjoy, and my food is delicious because I need to live in a way that is inspiring. I can never diet again. I'm never going to count calories. I'm never going to weigh and measure, count carbs, none of that insanity. Numbers make me crazy, including the scale. So all of that is gone. So when I go to a restaurant, when I travel, I'm like, does it have sugar? Does it have flour? No, good. I'm eating it and I'm enjoying it.
All right.
So that was, yeah.
So hold on. Let me just break this down because I'm trying to lose weight myself here. Hold on. So what are we cutting out here? We're cutting
anything that has refined sugar.
Refined sugar gone.
Yeah.
What else?
And it's in everything. Barbecue sauce, ketchup, soy sauce, like even salad, every salad dressing, every cereal. Man, because we think it's just cupcakes. No. It's crazy how much the grocery store, almost everything has sugar in it.
Okay, and then what was the other thing?
Flour. So refined flour that you would make bread with, pasta with, pizza. Pizza is the number one most addictive food on the planet. Pizza's number one. So pizza's number one, potato chips are number two, and number three is chocolate.
Oh, nah, see, you went too far now. You put the chocolate.
Chocolate is made with sugar.
Oh, man, you just threw the chocolate in there. Okay.
Yeah.
So that...
Yeah. And do this one meal at a time. So I always tell people, because the next question I get is, oh my God, for the rest of your life? And I'm like, no, I can't commit to anything for the rest of my life. I've been married and divorced, engaged and ended it. I have commitment problems. I can't commit to no sugar and no flour for the rest of my life. All that I can commit to, because I've already ate breakfast, is lunch. That's the only thing I can commit to. And it becomes, see, the biggest predicator of future change is self-efficacy. And self-efficacy is the belief that it is possible. So when you say to yourself, I'm never going to have sugar for the rest of my life, your self-efficacy is probably like a 0 or a 1, which means you're not going to do it. But when I ask myself, just for lunch, just for today for lunch, can I avoid sugar and flour? My self-efficacy is a 10 out of 10. Yeah, that's totally possible. And then I ask myself the same question at dinner. Because as soon as you start thinking about, the next day and whatever, it's too anxiety making. And if you do it one meal at a time, I promise you'll look over your shoulder one day and go, it's been days, weeks, months, years. How did that happen? Because you took it one moment at a time.
Okay, so I have to ask, when you win the competition, because I have a good feeling when you win the competition, okay, the Grand Slam speaking, what do you give yourself as dessert? Like, what do you treat yourself?
Dessert? No. There's no dessert.
Oh, man.
So how do I reward myself? Yeah. How do I celebrate? I always celebrate. So the thing when I accomplish something, I really try to cement it into who I am and who I'm becoming. And I do a lot of mirror work. And I know this sounds hokey, but it's really powerful. So get in front of the mirror, look into your eyes, and just say, who are you becoming? So if I accomplish something, I'll get in front of the mirror. I'm like, you are strong. You are brave. You are intelligent. You're getting better every day. The miracles unfolding. But I say it to myself and it feels amazing. Amazing. Because I always give this analogy to my clients. When you make a mistake, how long do you analyze that mistake, ruminate over that mistake, consider that mistake? How long, right? Some people say days or hours. And then I say to them, well, when you have a success, how long do you analyze that? And they're like, oh, no, I don't do that. I go, how long do you ruminate about your successes? No, don't do that. Do you lose sleep over your successes? No. So usually you have a success and you spend 5 seconds going, well, that felt good, and move on. And yet your mistakes get way more airtime. And so I try to flip that paradigm and give my successes the analyzing, the ruminating, the sleepless nights, the excitement.
It's funny you're talking about that, and I'm sitting there smiling to myself because now that you broke it down like that, you are so true. You'll do something phenomenal. You'll enjoy it for 2 hours and oh man, like, I'm happy, I did great, blah, blah, blah. Your friends are calling you, everybody's like, oh, we saw you on TV, everything is great. You're like, okay, thank you. And then one wrong thing goes wrong. And for the next 3 days, you're down on yourself. You forgot about the TV commercial. You forgot about everything. You're just down on yourself. So
crazy.
Yeah, it's phenomenal how you broke that down. And we need to, how do we get out of that?
Yeah, I mean, it takes effort, right? It's this mental discipline. So not only am I careful about what I put in my mouth, I am even more careful about what I put in my mind, because you're constantly feeding your mind. And if you let junk in and junk food in, it's going to show up in your life. So I kind of have this analogy. I stand guard at the door of my mind and I decide what I let in. So for example, like I don't even watch movies like horror movies with senseless violence. I don't want to fill my mind with those images. That's awful. No different than eating out of a dumpster. Do you eat out of a dumpster? No. Well, or watching CNN news, that's eating out of a dumpster for your mind. Or listening to Trump. Sorry, didn't mean to bring him up, but forget that. Strike that. But that's like, I don't feed my mind garbage. I don't. And it can be so addictive. Like I went away with my family to Saint Martin and we got this like exquisite villa for a week. Like it was, it's a $10 million villa, 2 pools, amazing. And I didn't allow CNN on TV. My brother is addicted to CNN, like full on, right?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't allow that in this space. I'm like, this is a magical place. We are not putting that on. And day 4, he woke up early to watch. He needed his fix.
Okay, so
what do you feed your mind? What do you allow the thoughts? What thoughts do you entertain?
And you're not enjoying, and he's sorry to cut you, but he's not enjoying that moment.
No, he's filling his mind with violence that's happening in the world and horrible things. And yes, that happens. And we, of course, need to be knowledgeable. But understand that when you're watching television like that, they keep repeating those violent graphic images over and over and over. And it has an effect on you.
Okay, so then here we go. When you wake up in the morning, you hit the mirror. The mirror is your first step on.
No.
Okay, so tell me, how did Sandra wake up and go through her day, her first steps?
Yeah, so a big part of my life is my spiritual practice. And I'm learning that the first few moments are very critical when you wake up. You can almost set the tone for your day. And what I used to do was wake up and check my email. And so what I was telling the universe was, by checking my email, everyone else's priorities and requests are far more important than my well-being. That's what you're saying. So I stopped doing that. So now what I do when I wake up, I'm doing something called A Course in Miracles. And so every day there is a specific exercise. So because you can get everything on your phone, that's what I do. Today I was on lesson 100. So I typed in A Course in Miracle lesson 100. It came up and I read my lesson for the day. And today's lesson was about being in joy. That when you experience joy and when you're actively seeking to be joyful, you are connected to God. And that was my first thought for the day. And that sets the tone for the day.
Okay, so hold on. Tell everybody, is that an app or what is it?
Oh, so A Course in Miracles is a book. And it's a very difficult book to understand. I'm just putting it out there. And what they have is a workbook. So they have an exercise for every day. So 365 days. I'm on lesson 100. You can either buy the book or you can literally type into Google Course in Miracles lesson number 1. And then the next day type in Course in Miracles lesson number 2 and it'll come up. So it's also free. You don't have to buy the book.
Okay, so there you go, Jump listeners. See, Jump fans, this is why you come on the show and get some little insights. Okay, so now you do that every morning, you wake up, and then what's next?
Then my daughter takes over my priorities. I'm a single mom and she's 7 years old. So before my beautiful Sophia, my mornings were about me. So I would exercise, I would meditate, But that's not true anymore. My mornings are about my daughter. So she demands my attention. As you know, you have children. So I have to make sure she has breakfast, her lunch is made, she's dressed, brushes her teeth, la, 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 la. And then I got to make sure I do all that for myself. But because I'm an entrepreneur, one of the greatest gifts of being an entrepreneur is I have total autonomy over my time, which means I get to decide when I start working. I get to decide who I work for, when I stop. Now, you would think, people always assume, then how do you have the discipline? I go, there is no discipline. I'm pulled to this. This is my calling. So I actually work more now than I did when I was in the corporate world. I work 7 days a week, but at my own pace and when I want to.
Is it because now that you've found yourself and then you're loving what you do? Is this why?
Yeah, I love it. It's no effort. I can put together a curriculum, like the 8-week outpatient program. I literally wrote that. So it was every Tuesday and the doctor was going to be present in the room. So a lot of pressure. I literally wrote it on the Monday. So I would teach a 2-hour class on Tuesday and I hadn't even written the program yet. So on Monday, I would write the 2-hour lesson and present on Tuesday, and it was effortless. And I remember the doctor going, my goodness, how long have you been working on this? And months. You have no idea. I hope she's not listening. This was like, it took time. No, it just flowed. And then that's the way it's supposed to be. When you're in inspiration, when you're in the flow, when you ask the universe, I want to serve the greater good, then you can just be a channel for the information. And it's effortless.
So then before we let you go, I got a couple of questions left because I'm
Sure.
loving how this sounds. When you went on stage the very first time, right, is the new you. Before you speak, did you think, okay, they're staring at me? Because everybody has this fear, like when you go on the stage to speak, they have all these eyes looking at you. So tell me the first three things, if you could remember when your body changed and it was the new you and you went on stage for the first time, what was the 3 things you thought people were looking at you and saying?
Interesting. So I believe that God is love, and I also believe that we are pure love. So what I try to do before I speak, and even today, that I remind myself, I am pure love, and I want to express love so that my words come out in that way. So what I hope that they see is my energy. And in fact, when somebody comments on my energy, man, oh man, do I melt, right? So usually people will tend to comment on exterior appearances, which is lovely. But when someone comes to me and says, I like being in your energy, good, because I work on that. That's what I work on. So I try to look through the eyes of love. So I'm looking out at the audience and sending every person love. And then I'm trying to speak that love. And who wouldn't accept that? I also do a lot of breathing because when we're anxious and when we're nervous, our breathing changes and we don't realize that it's super shallow. And when we have shallow breathing, your brain is deprived from oxygen and it's a little harder to speak. So I do a ton of deep breathing. And then I check my ego at the door. This is another big one. I just say, just me, little old me, I don't have much to say, right? But if I want to be a source, a channel for God, and I ask God to take over my words and actions, wow, that's when magic can happen, because it's not about me. It's about this prayer of how can I serve this audience? How can I say something that will help somebody out there? So it doesn't matter about me. It doesn't matter if I look good or not good, if I succeed or not succeed. How can I get to somebody? What do they need to hear?
Okay, now you said it many times before, and I always, if I don't jump into it unless I hear it more often and more often. Now, the show is all about business, style, and faith. Now, you keep bringing up faith in God a lot. Why does that help you? How does that help you?
Well, when I was full into my food addiction, and my life was spiraling out of control and I just didn't know how to stop, I really had to reach for a power greater than myself because I didn't know the way out. And my best thinking got me a life that was completely hopeless and decimated. and I couldn't trust my thinking anymore. So I just said, you know what, I surrender. I'm going to believe that I'll be carried. I'm going to stop using food. And then I had to believe in something that would carry me through those situations if I wasn't going to use my comfort. So faith for me is really important. You cannot have fear and faith at the same time. And fear used to paralyze me. And when I stopped using food, I would experience paralyzing fear, which to me was a clue as to why I ate so much, to swell the fear. So I needed a replacement. I couldn't just be like, okay, I'm not going to eat, and now I'll just feel this horrific fear. No, I needed a replacement. And for me, that was a loving, supportive, beautiful God that holds me in his hands and ensures I have everything I need with every step I take.
Yeah, that's beautiful, because now you have a partner going through this journey with you.
Yeah. And I love, because, I do a lot of like coaching and counseling, and some days, I'm sure this happens to you too, where you just don't feel good, right? You're struggling with your own stuff, right? And I'm like, holy moly, I'm somebody sitting across from me for 1 hour and I need to counsel them. And I'll just say a prayer, God, I got nothing. I'm empty. My brain's not in a good place. You take over and do this counseling session, please. Right. Please, because I can't do anything. And it never fails.
Even counselors need counselors, right? So,
yeah, for sure.
All right, so here's my top question, because I know my Jump fans, I always say it on every show. I know you're waiting for me to ask, so I'm going to ask. When you leave this earth, and this is your last breath, what is your legacy? What did you want your legacy to be?
Wow, that makes me emotional. So I want my legacy to be my daughter. I want her... children never listen to a word we say. They are studying our actions. They are watching us. They're learning how to live a life by observing the way that we live. And so what I've tried to model for her is a life where I love myself, where I take care of myself, where I make myself a priority, where we understand that we have so much abundance, that we have a responsibility to help other people, to do meaningful work, to never let people in our lives who hurt us, that we only send them love and that we are love. And so my legacy is for her, because my parents, they were not available to me. And so they never sat down or talked to me about how to live a life, but they showed me how to live a life. And then it took 10 years of therapy to undo what they showed me. And I don't ever want to do that for her. I want to show her, a way to live that will bring her
man, that
joy.
Sounds great. That sounds great. And is she a little princess? How is she? Okay.
Well, no, she's not a princess. She doesn't like to be called a princess. But so you know what? My daughter is my greatest spiritual teacher. She's unimpressed by me. And I mean, she comes to watch me, sometimes I have to bring her when I run my clinics and speak to people and all that, and nothing impresses her. And she also, I'm all about gratitude. We just went to northern Newfoundland. We had an amazing adventure this summer, and I have this, thing that at night I want to say, what are you grateful for today? Nothing. And I'm like, Mommy spent $1,000 today. You need to find something to be grateful for, like right now. But I'm learning that I have to accept her as she is. Exactly as she is. Because I would like her to be a mini me. But she's a mini her. She's a mini her. And she's strong, and she's smart, and she's beautiful, and she's my everything. She's my whole everything. I even said to her the other day, I'm like, you are my everything. You're my heartbeat. She goes, that's ridiculous.
Listen, if they want to hear more stories like this or to follow you, where can they go?
App, the only app you'll need to stay current on local and regional news, jobs, business
Head on over to my website at sandraelia.com. So SandraElia.com. And I have a great YouTube channel where I put out these little pearls of wisdom. So if you go on YouTube and you put food addiction recovery, Sandra Elia, I'll pop up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I put out, just short little 5-10 minute
now listen,
pearls of wisdom.
Fans, I hope this helped you out, because I realize that, on all my episodes, I want you to jump. I want you to do great things. And before you can do great things, you have to have the courage and the go get yourself to go do great things. Nothing's stopping you but you. Once you find out what it is, then you fix it, then you go for it. So I hope having Sandra on the show is helping you to get to that next level. So Sandra, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for the work that you're doing. This
so
is
jump
incredibly
fans,
important.
you know what's going to happen now. We're going to leave you here, but we're going to go into the secret vault where I'm going to ask Sandra some questions you might want to hear. So stay tuned. Sandra, we'll be right back.
Thank you for listening. If you liked the show or have a comment, we would love to hear from you. Join our mailing list, and as always, check out our special deals links below. I hope this has inspired you to look at your life and jump. See you next week.
Amazon is offering sign-on bonuses up to $1,000, plus get up to $20 an hour for select roles. The best part? We're hiring near you. So start now to take home something greater. New, higher wages with a sign-on bonus, a range of real benefits, and career growth opportunities in a top-rated workplace. So earn more and see how great pay and sign-on bonuses can lead to a greater life for you. Go to amazon.com/apply. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer. Amazon is offering sign-on bonuses up to $1,000, plus get up to $20 an hour for select roles. The best part? We're hiring near you. So start now to take home something greater. New, higher wages with a sign-on bonus, a range of real benefits, and career growth opportunities in a top-rated workplace. So earn more and see how great pay and sign-on bonuses can lead to a greater life for you. Go to amazon.com/apply. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, hope you had a great time listening to the show. If you think I did a great job, please buy me a coffee. I still got a lot of work to do. We would love to hear from you, your feedback, so please click the link and leave us a review. You can help us grow by following us on all social media platforms and sharing this link. Once again, it's time for you to jump. Success is waiting.